What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to more Let's Play Pokemon White. In the last episode, we finished exploring the last of the Unova region, finishing off with Route 11. And then we went back to Marvelous Bridge, saw the Patrat lady who ran off from Village Bridge, and finally ended the episode in Castelia City by returning to Game Freak HQ and doing battle against Morimoto, who's packing Pokemon in the mid-70s level-wise. Little preview for what we're about to deal with today, because we are going to be battling the Pokemon League. Now, this is the beginning of the end. This is not the finale. We still have several things left to do in this game. That's probably going to take over about an hour, I would say, so a few episodes left to go. But yes, we're taking on the Pokemon League today. And I did a bit of leveling up between episodes, enough to give everybody on the team 2 levels, except for Crush and Arthur, who got 3 levels. And so we are just about ready to go, but I want to give you guys a brief overview of the team one last time. First up, we have Naz, who is packing Flash Cannon, Ice Beam, Air Slash, and Psychic. I replaced Calm Mind with Ice Beam. You may remember in the episode where we were in the Giant Chasm and we caught Kyurem, there was an item that I missed, and I made specific mention of it because I went out of my way to do so, because that was a very important item that I missed, which was, of course, the TM for Ice Beam. Now Naz is holding it, and the fact that this Psychic and Flying type can learn Ice Beam is pretty darn awesome. And given that he has amazing type coverage now, it only made sense to give him the Expert Belt on top of everything else. Not to mention his special attack. It's great, but it's not like Lumiette levels of good, so a little extra help never hurts. Now we have Arthur, who is the most well-rounded of the team, back in Coil, Leaf Blade, Aerial Ace, and now Frenzy Plant as opposed to Strength. Even though his special attack is weaker than his physical attack, Frenzy Plant is still going to be stronger than Leaf Blade just because it's such a powerhouse of a move at 150 base power and 90% accuracy. And on top of everything else, because I want Leaf Blade hitting a lot, Scope Lens is also there on top of everything, just to make critical hits even easier. I believe it's like a 30% crit rate now with Scope Lens and Leaf Blade in tandem, which is pretty awesome. And then, of course, there's Coil of Force sweeping certain teams, although I don't think I'm going to be using that much here in the Pokemon League. Then we have Bathory, our physical sweeper to end all sweepers. And when I go into sweeper mode with Bathory, I almost always just stick to Dragon Claw because, well, it makes the most sense. And the only type that resists it in this generation is Steel. So, yeah, just Dragon Claw away, which it only makes sense to then add a Dragon Fang on top of that. Crush is now packing Waterfall instead of Surf because it synergizes with his strengths a bit more than Surf did. Not to mention I'm not doing any more double battles, so it just made more sense to give him Waterfall. I was considering just going back to Aqua Tail, but the surefiredness of Waterfall over Aqua Tail's wishy-washy 90% accuracy just made me kind of lean on Waterfall a bit more. It also can cause flinch at times, which if I have Shell Smash going, that can be pretty useful. On top of everything else, he is the most physically defensive. Physical defense goes hand in hand with direct hits, so therefore a Rocky Helmet makes a lot of sense to just do a whole lot more retaliatory damage. Okay, let me go back into my summary with Shelob, who I didn't really change anything about. She's already the fastest member of our team. She's always going to be a glass cannon. There's not really much I can do about her defenses, so in that regard, I decided to give her a Bright Powder just to make moves miss a bit more often. She does obviously have Energy Ball, which we only gave her a couple of episodes ago. That'll come in handy every once in a while, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with where she's at for now. And then finally we have Lumiette, who I also didn't change the moves on. Psychic, Calm Mind, Flamethrower, Shadow Ball. She has the strongest special attack, like, ever, and I'm more than content with what she already has. I gave her the leftovers because, well, it was kind of the only really good hold item I had left over, and given that her defenses are actually pretty darn solid, it just made sense to give her that on top of everything else. But yep, I'm pretty happy with where the team's at. And you might wonder why Naz is in front. Well, that's for a very good reason. This time, we are going to challenge the Pokemon League in the exact opposite order that we did last time. You are meant to start with Chantal and work your way around, but given that they are all at equal levels, it really doesn't matter where you start. So instead, we're going to start with Marshall this time and work our way counterclockwise. So let's do this thing. Up we go. 6 Pokemon to deal with. Every single one is going to be at level 71, except for the signature Pokemon, which is always level 73. So we're going to start with Marshall, then work to Caitlin, then Grimsley, and we will end with Chantal before we finally battle the champion. As for items, I have nothing to worry about. I have more than enough Revives and Full Restores. Really, once I make it out of a battle, I should be able to just completely heal my Pokemon there's not going to be any issues there. I just have to actually make it through the battle. I thank you deeply for the chance of another round of combat against you. In myself, I seek to develop the strength of a fighter and shatter any weakness in myself, prevailing with the force of my convictions. Victory, decisive victory is my intention. Challenger, here I come. And so begins the battle against Elite Four Marshall. He is going to be starting with Breloom at level 71, the grass and fighting type with the ability Effect Spore, which has a 30% chance of inflicting paralysis, poison, and or sleep against any Pokemon that makes direct contact with it. Its attacks are Mach Punch, Spore, Grass Knot, and Sky Uppercut. Now you can see why I'm beginning with Naz, because Naz, as long as its Air Slash hits, is a one-shot on this thing very, very easily. And not to mention the fact that these are all fighting types, and Psychic damage is just inherently good against them. But they have some concessions here. There are some things that are going to actually make Naz's job pretty difficult, and one of those is Sock, because Sock is packing Rock-type moves. It has Close Combat, Retaliate, Stone Edge, and Poison Jab, and it also has the ability Sturdy, which prevents me from one-shotting this thing. I'm going to try to make it flinch here. It might not work, but I'm going to try, and if I can't, it's going to get a Stone Edge off, which is almost certainly going to one-shot my Sigilif here, which I'm okay with. I've got contingencies for that. Now, given how low in health is with Sock, I'm almost guaranteeing that Marshall is going to use a full restore here. So I'm going to throw Arthur out really quickly. I have a plan. Let's do that really quickly. And every single Elite Four member has 4 full restores to play around with, so keep that in mind. But if we can get the critical hit here, that will be some pretty awesome damage. If we cannot, I have another plan for that. Now, I'm expecting him to use Poison Jab here because that is super effective against Arthur. So I'm going to use this opportunity to use a Max Revive on Naz. When else are we going to use these Max Revives? Let's just get them out of the way. And, oh, he's going to use Close Combat. Okay, that is a choice. That's a lot of damage. And you know what? Because his defense and special defense fell, I mean, shoot, I was going to go Aerial Ace, but nah, let's just go Frenzy Plant. Let's finish this guy off. And then we can switch back to Naz. And down he goes. So yeah, as long as it's always going to take 2 hits to knock this Sock out because of his Sturdy ability. So keep that in mind. He is definitely in there to just absolutely take you out. And it makes sense that Mienshao is coming out next because it does have a move that is strong against Arthur. This Mienshao has Inner Focus, which prevents it from getting flinched, and it has the attacks High Jump, Kick, U-Turn, Acrobatics, and Fake Out. You know what? I really should have switched to Lumiette here instead of Naz because Fake Out would not be able to do anything. But oh well, we'll just go with a Psychic here. And actually, we're going first. It didn't use Fake Out. Very, very interesting choice. Hopefully we can one-shot it, and we did. Mienshao is kind of a glass cannon, so it makes sense. Okay, next up is Conkeldurr, and Conkeldurr is his signature Pokemon, so it is at level 73. It has the ability Sheer Force. Whenever using a move that has an alternate effect, like lowering or raising some sort of stat or causing flinch or anything like that, it'll negate the ability and just do even more damage. I believe it's 150% more damage. This thing is packing Hammer Arm, Earthquake, Stone Edge, and Payback, and I did not mean to do that there. Let's just use a Psychic. I'm almost guaranteeing this is not going to one-shot Conkeldurr because it's got such great defenses, but at least we're faster. Okay, here comes the Stone Edge. Probably going to, again, take Naz out. I'm very much anticipating that. But there we go. Another full restore is probably going to come out in this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch to Shelob here, and I'm going to try to get a discharge off to get some paralysis going. We have 2 chances at this. So let's do it. Oh, he didn't use a full restore. Okay. Very interesting choice. Whatever. All right. Well, there goes the Pokemon down. Next up, we have Throw. Okay, for you. Do I want to stay? You know what? I am going to actually stay with Shelob for this. Throw has Guts, which whenever it is afflicted with a status condition, it makes its attacks a lot stronger. It's got Superpower, Retaliate, Earthquake, and Grass Knot. So I'm just going to throw out some more discharges here to try to get paralysis going. Pretty please. And if we can, okay, it's going to be using Earthquake here, which is going to do a lot of damage, but Shelob is not going to go down, I don't think, in 2 shots here, so I can probably get out a couple more discharges to weaken this thing. And if I can't outright take it down with Shelob, then I've got Lumiette in my back pocket for this. Barely survived. Okay, paralysis time. Come on. I believe in you, Shelob. You can do this. You can do it. There it is. That's what I like to see. Paralyzed, can't move. Okay, is he going to use a full restore here? He may. It's cutting it close. Nope, he's not. Okay, so Shelob's going to take that thing out all on her own. And down it goes. All right, one Pokemon remains, and that is going to be Toxicroak, which is a poison and fighting type that is packing Anticipation, which tells it whenever the opposing Pokemon has something that's super effective against it. It has Venoshock, Toxic, Low Sweep, and Earthquake. It is not the fastest Pokemon in the world, so I believe I will be going before it. If I don't, this Earthquake might hurt a fair bit, but if not, Psychic should absolutely take this thing out. Okay, it did go first. It's not a stab move, though, so I think Lumiette should be able to handle this. Indeed. Now we should be one-shotting this thing. No problem. And down goes Toxicroak, and down goes Marshall. And there we go. There is no strongest Pokemon or single best combination, so there are no guarantees of winning. But the determination to be strong and to continue to grow and improve is itself a great strength. It's the determination that you show that makes me respect you. There are still many strong trainers in this Pokemon League. You should deepen your bonds with your Pokemon by battling with them. All right, Marshall, thank you very much. And on to the next one. All right, I'm going to heal up my team, and then we will advance from here, so give me just a moment. And we're off. All right, I moved Lumiette to the front of the party for this one because it only makes sense. I mean, it's either Lumiette or Shelob for this one, but in this particular instance, I feel a little bit more comfortable throwing Lumiette out first, because I have much more confidence that she can one-shot whatever is out in front of her, especially when they're super specially defensive. Who's there? Who is so uncouth as to disturb my sleep? It's you again. Still, you possess that combination of kindness and strength, yet you seem stronger than before. Do be sure not to bore me with a snooze-inducing battle, is that clear? And now it's time to battle Elite Four member Caitlin, the Psychic-type specialist. And her first Pokemon that she's going to be throwing out is Masharna with the ability Synchronize, which causes a status condition inflicted upon it to be doubled up and cloned on the Pokemon that is against it. Its attacks are Psychics, Dream Eater, Hypnosis, and Reflect. So it's going to be trying to put me asleep a lot. That's why I want to take care of this thing very, very quickly. But this is also an opportunity for me to really make this difficult for her. Given that Masharna really can't do a whole lot against me, I'm actually going to throw out a couple Calm Minds here and hope that Hypnosis doesn't land. Even if it does, I am absolutely content with just throwing out a full heal, watching her miss with the Dream Eater, and then doing it again. So we'll just kind of do this over and over again to sort of build up our strength, and then we will be honestly in shape to just completely sweep her. So I think 2 Calm Minds should be enough here, and then I'll be pretty happy. Because, yeah, pretty much all she's got is special attackers in this fight, except for one. Also, a Reflect is not going to do you any good here, Masharna. I'm sorry. Let's throw a Shadow Ball out and get to work. Now, she does have contingency plans for dealing with the likes of Ghost types and whatnot, as well as, well, Lumiette herself. But I think we should be okay, barring a really unlucky critical hit here. All right, next up is her signature Pokemon Metagross with level 73 with Clear Body, which prevents any stats from lowering whatsoever. It's got Zen, Headbutt, Bullet Punch, Earthquake, and Giga Impact. Now, the Earthquake is I know what she is banking on. Metagross is somewhat fast, but I don't think it's faster than Lumiette here. So let's try to throw out a Flamethrower, and hopefully we can one-shot this thing. I almost went with Shadow Ball. That would not have been the right play here. Come on, there we go. All right, and the only Pokemon I was worried about is down. Now there should be a very easy sweep from here on out, and Lumiette is just going to eat this experience up. Next up is Rhea Nicholas with its ability Magic Guard, and I actually can't quite remember off the top of my head what Magic Guard does, but its attacks are Psychic Thunder, Energy Ball, and Focus Blast. Should still be very easy to deal with because the rest of her Pokemon are pretty slow except for one. There's one that might be going faster than Lumiette, but it doesn't have any moves that are going to be taking me out too easily. It does have one that could be slightly problematic, but that's not this Pokemon because this is Bronzong with the ability Levitate, avoids all ground type moves. Payback, Flash Cannon, Psychic, and Charge Beam on this guy. Let's throw out another Flamethrower here and take this guy out. Now, is she going to throw out her Pure Psychic type or her Psychic Flying type next, I wonder? Let's see. It is... Oh, Reflect wore off. Oh, no. Gothitelle with the ability Frisk, which allows it to instantly reveal whatever the opponent's held item is. That is obviously my leftovers. It's got Psychic, Payback, Flatter, and Thunderbolt. Obviously, we don't want that Payback to hit, but again, not too worried about it. Plus, Payback's a physical move, and Gothitelle is much more of a special attacker, so we should be fine. Let's probably got the best special defense of the entire team, too. And the fact that we still one-shot it just shows how unbelievably overpowered we are right now. Now it's Sigilif with the ability Wonder Skin. We all know about Sigilif at this point. I've been using it this entire playthrough. Air Slash, Psychic, Flash Cannon, and Ice Beam. Hey, that moveset sounds incredibly familiar. Yep, it's the exact same thing that I already have on my Sigilif. Now, it is faster, but I was more worried about Air Slash and it just kind of flinched locking me, but it did not decide to do that, so we should be okay. And that might be the easiest of all of the fights here in the Elite Four. Down it goes. And down goes Elite Four Caitlin. As you have always been, or even more than ever, you are an elegant and excellent trainer. Your Pokemon also have class. I am very pleased to have battled you. Alas, even with the knowledge and skill passed down to my family of trainers, I still can't win. The reason I came here in the first place was to encounter trainers like you. And off we go. All right, we're going to do one more fight in this episode, and then we're going to call it. We'll battle Chantal in the next episode because, well, there's a little bit more to that episode than obviously just battling Chantal. So let me just top Lumiette off, and then we can head on in. All right, I think this is the one where things are going to get a little bit more hairy. Obviously, Shelob is the best Pokemon for this particular fight, but it's not going to be so easy. I'm going to have to get a bit more creative with which Pokemon I'm throwing out in each instance, as I don't know if Shelob's going to be able to handle all of this herself, but she can certainly try. So let's go. And I've always loved Grimsley's arena. I think it's so freaking cool. Even though he himself he's got an alright design, actually. I guess I don't hate it that much, but he was never my favorite. Always preferred Chantal and, honestly, Marshall to everyone else. I think they're the coolest. And Grimsley's cool. He's cool. I think I said this exact same thing last time we fought him. But alright, here we go. Life is a serious battle, and you have to use the tools you're given. It's more important to master the cards you hold than to complain about the ones your opponents were dealt. Let us begin, and may the best trainer win. Contests like this are proof that you are really living. And thus begins the battle against Elite Four member Grimsley and his 6 Dark-type Pokemon. He's going to lead off the fight with Sharpedo and its ability Rough Skin. It's going to have attacks Aqua Jet, Night Slash, Waterfall, and Earthquake. Rough Skin causes a Pokemon to take 1/16 of its HP in damage every time it inflicts direct damage. Now, obviously, I have Shelob out for the start of this because it just makes the most sense. Sharpedo is a very quick Pokemon, but if we can actually weaken this thing down a little bit, we should be good to go. One shot with the discharge. That is nice to see. Now, this is where things are going to get a little bit hairy because, obviously, that's the only water type. We do have Bug Buzz, though, and that is going to be nice, but it's not going to be good against every Pokemon. Next, he's going to send up Scrafty, which is where things get complicated because this is a Dark and Fighting type Pokemon, and yeah, I am not going to be throwing out anything super effective against it with Shelob. Let's switch to Naz. This thing has Moxie, and this is why you want to take this thing out quick because every Pokemon it knocks out will raise its attack stat. Luckily, it's very slow. It has attacks Head Smash, Crunch, Brick Break, and Poison Jab. Now, Crunch is obviously the thing to watch out for here, but if we can get this Air Slash off and maybe flinch it, possibly, that'll actually help us out quite a bit. It is very defensive, and also Head Smash hurts a lot on this thing. Okay, that is going to just take me out outright because it's a Rock-type move. Oof. That is some big damage. Although, ooh, the recoil knocked it out too. I lost out on the experience, but I think I'm okay with that. I'm going to go back. Ooh, I'm very tentative about this. Do I go back to Shelob? Because that's going to probably bring out Drapion, I believe. I'm going to do it. Let's see if that gets them to bring out Drapion here. Are you going to do it? Lipard. Okay, no. So Lipard's got Sucker Punch, Fake Out, Aerial Ace, and Attract. Obviously, Attract isn't going to work in this instance, but it is going to probably use Fake Out, which is going to hurt a little bit. So get that out of the way really quickly, and then we can get to work on using the Bug Buzz here. So hopefully this will one-shot. Now, Lipard has Limber, which prevents it from being inflicted by paralysis ever, which is why we don't want to use Discharge, but Bug Buzz was more than enough there. Really strong move, always awesome. Next is Drapion, which is a Poison and Dark-type Pokemon. It's got the ability Battle Armor. I actually forget what that one does. So I'm going to switch to Bathory for this one because it is weak to Ground-type moves. It has Thunder Fang, Poison Fang, Fire Fang, and Crunch. Nothing that's going to hurt Bathory too bad. I'm sure it's going to just default to using Crunch all day, given that it is its strongest move by default. I am not able to do any super effective with Shelob to this thing, so Earthquake should get the job done, but it's probably going to take a couple hits. Yeah, I can handle a Crunch. It's a fair bit of damage, but it's not too much. Just move here. It's good. It's fascinating. Okay. But once we take this one down, there will be only 2 Pokemon left, but they're not pushovers, either of them. One of them should be very easy to deal with. The other one, not so much. We'll see. All right, next is Crocodile with the ability Intimidate, and I'm going to switch to Shelob for exactly that reason, because she's a special attacker. We all know what Intimidate does, lowers the attack by 1 stage. It has the ability, or the attacks, Smackdown, Earthquake, Foul Play, and Outrage. Smackdown is the one to worry about here, but we should be going first, and I'm hoping that Bug Buzz is enough to take this thing down outright. It has a little bit better defenses than something like Liepard, so it may survive this, but here's hoping it doesn't. Come on. Oh, yeah, I was worried about that. No, it's going to use Earthquake. Interesting choice. It actually might take Shelob out. Yes, indeed. Wow. Okay, so let's switch on over to Arthur for the rest of this. And I'm going to see, is he going to use a full restore here? Yes or no? Let's use Leaf Blade. He is. Okay. I still think I should be able to keep this thing's health down even with just Leaf Blade. And if not, I can always default to Frenzy Plant, obviously. So let's just use that. I still have a lot of options for dealing with these Pokemon, but yeah, it was not so easy as just picking one Pokemon and taking it out. And nope, he did not use another full restore. I think it's funny that they're not opting to just spam him, but I guess he knows when he's defeated. So down you go. And now it's time for his signature Pokemon, Bisharp, with the ability Defiant, which I believe prevents flinching. And I think not only does it prevent flinching, but if it tries to... I think it's if it's supposed to get flinched, it like raises its attack or something like that. I can't remember 100% on that one. Its attacks are Guillotine, Night Slash, X-Scissor, and Aerial Ace, but given that it's a Dark Steel type, you know what I'm doing here. We're just going to Flamethrower this thing to death, and it should be gone in no time. And there we go. So thus far, the Elite Four hasn't been too tough to deal with, but they're not the ones I'm worried about all that much, if you can believe it. Someone wins, the person who fought against that person will lose. That's battle. I mean, obviously. Good Contender just seeks the next victory without bragging after winning and without getting upset after losing. So you're just telling me not to rub it in your face, basically. There are bad ways to win and good ways to lose. What's interesting and troubling is that it's not always clear which is which. A flip coin doesn't always land heads or tails. Sometimes it may never land at all. You know, I'm not going to lie, Grimsley, that there's a lot of holes in that one, buddy, but we still beat you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for this episode of Let's Play Pokemon White. I hope you all enjoyed it very, very much. In the next episode, we're going to battle Chantal, we are going to battle the champion, and we are just about going to say farewell to this Let's Play. It's going to be kind of the precursor to the finale, if you will, so just bear with me. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.